My eyes. The goggles.
They do nothing.
They do nothing.
Oh, man.
I was curious, where is that even going to come in, and what, the last 30 seconds of the movie? Maybe it's in other spots, but for your eyes only, dear. And it's like, that's so bad.
It is the worst title drop in any of these movies.
I did see, with the purchase of James Bond happening, they said they should go back to this trend, and it's a clickbait article, so it's like, go back to the trend of naming them after the books, because after Quantum of Solace, none of them had the name of the books.
We're going to get to a point where most of them are not named after the books. Because none of Pierce Brosnan's are named after a book, and only one of Timothy Dalton's gets its name from a book.
That makes the clickbait even worse, if it was already broken as a trend before it came back as a trend. It wasn't a trend then.
Exactly. They ran out of books. They ran out of books. Potato Chip Pictures. My name is B. Sammy Davis.
I'm Justin.
And this is a movie franchise review podcast. We are looking at the Bond franchise, and this week we did For Your Eyes Only. It is 1981's movie that was named after the 8th book in the franchise. Of course, still starring Roger Moore. I've got a few more facts on hand that I'm sure I could throw out there, and
if they fit into the context. Yeah.
Well, we usually do the budget. Let me do the budget at least.
Yeah.
So we're looking at $28 million. It was less than Moonraker. Admittedly, Moonraker was one of the most expensive movies of its time, so pulling back a little bit may have been a good idea. So $28 million, and it returned $195.3 million. So also less than Moonraker, but still nearly $200 million on less than $30 million budget.
Almost 10x.
Yeah, almost. They were almost there. They almost got it. I believe this was John Glenn's first run at directing the Bond films. I'm trying to take a look, because I think he will do the next 3. He's going to be our guy for a lot of this. There it is.
Well, thanks for trying to build them up, hype them up, because...
he does 5 of these movies.
Does he cover the split between this actor and the next?
Yeah, he does the last 3 Roger Moore plus the 2 Timothy Dalton. And then there's the long hiatus, the long break that they take, where Pierce Brosnan was the first reboot. And that's an interesting thing that we will have to get to when we get there. But for now, they are handing over the reins to one person who, frankly, wasn't a huge fan of the last movie. He thought it was a little bit overblown.
It was Moonraker, right?
Yeah. So
he's not wrong.
Exactly. He was looking at the trend of all the megalomania. He was looking at all the supervillains. I don't know how to say megalomaniac all of a sudden. But he was looking at these villains who wanted to take over the world, and he was like, that's just too big. I need to bring it back down to earth. And that's where we start with For Your Eyes Only. It's supposed to be a serious movie. It is at times.
Sure. They talk a lot. that's kind of serious. But man, they don't start it off very seriously.
Yeah. I mean, to the movie's credit, they are really trying to drive it home that at least since Lazenby, we have had a singular character known as James Bond. And I say at least since Lazenby because on Her Majesty's Secret Service, of course, kept referencing that they had changed the actors and they were like, ooh, this was the other guy and blah, blah, blah. And of course, his wife is the one who dies. And now new Bond, 5 movies into it, Bond. Is it 5 movies already for him?
I lost track. The fact that you said there's only 5 until Pierce Brosnan, I'm like, wow, I'm excited to rewatch GoldenEye.
We're getting to the 90s, dude. We are almost there. I am so excited. So I think we're like 4 movies in. This is the 5th, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. We're at number 5. So Roger Moore is established. He's his own guy. And, we got to take it in this direction. Anyway. Which one was it that had him saying that it was The Spy Who Loved Me, where the Russians were like, you were married once, 2 movies later, he's married again. The point is, Tracy was real. She existed, okay? Bond gets a phone call that he has to return to the office, and why don't you tell me what happened after he got that phone call?
I'll have to remember, because my notes go from Tracy Bond to... okay.
Yep.
It's like, what actually happened? It shouldn't be as forgettable as it is.
I know, because it's one of my favorites. I'm shocked that you forgot it at all. I'm sitting here like, this was the best.
It was very Batman-esque, though. Like, it just feels like Adam West. I forget how he gets on a helicopter, or the helicopter comes after him.
Well, he's at the cemetery, and the priest runs up and says, you had a call from the company, you have to report immediately. They're sending a helicopter. That's why he willingly gets into the helicopter. But once he's inside, the priest does the cross.
And we see man with no face back to the camera, but with a neck brace.
In a wheelchair.
Take over the controls of the helicopter after first using the audio back in the, what was it, Thunderball? Whichever one had the voodoo stuff. Death by audio.
The voodoo stuff was Live and Let Die.
Oh, okay. Takes out the helicopter pilot, tells Bond, kind of laughs maniacally.
Very maniacally.
Flies Bond around trying to kill him without crashing. It's kind of an inept. I'm not sure. He just wanted to toy with him. I feel like the movie just wanted to wrap up this loose end of, obviously, what's his name?
Blofeld.
And Bond gets the helicopter back under control. He does do a pretty nice helicopter stunt where he's stuck in the warehouse, finally gets control back and flies out through the warehouse, which looks like it's pretty tight squeeze. Yeah. But then he goes and skewers the wheelchair the guy is on, drags him up to a exhaust tower, and I'm positive he says a quip before he drops him in, but I don't remember it.
I don't remember it either. I had it for a moment and then it just vanished. It just blew out like a candle. What was that that quip? Oh, keep your hair on. Was one of them, because the man who is never named Blofeld but has the cat and has the suit and the neck brace, blah blah blah, like, plus having Tracy having her funeral. I think it's all just trying to be like, look, Blofeld's dead. Quit asking us about it. But they never say Blofeld. They never say
they just drop him, and Bond has a license to kill, so he's obviously we're back to just Bond. I don't know. It felt like a odd way to start off a movie, like where the audience is asking for closure on Tracy and Blofeld.
Yeah.
Or was it just the director, like, wanting to?
I genuinely have no idea. I've never seen anyone talk about it besides the fact that it's kind of comedic in nature. And then the rest of the movie proceeds to try to be fairly serious, including like the very first scene after the opening title sequence. But so from what I've heard, this particular scene is just kind of seen as awkward and out of place, but I still like it. Like, I don't know why I like it. I like the stunt work. I like seeing a person hanging from the side of a helicopter. I also like how they flew a helicopter so close to the roof of a building with a man just sitting there.
It was very close stunt work. It looked really good.
Yeah. So that particular aspect of it, I love. Getting closure on Blofeld is fine. I mean, in the last episode that we did, I even mentioned that we haven't had Spectre for a while. We've just had all these supervillains that want to take over the world, but they are independent. They don't have an organization or anything like that. And now the movie is, at least the franchise is really putting to bed even the notion of having a Blofeld. They're like, look, he's dead. He's gone. Whoever this guy was, he looks like Blofeld, doesn't he? Well, he's dead. So,
well,
it is a little
awkward and weird. It could have just been spoken about off camera. Like, this happened, Admiral Arkfire, he just died. Yeah. That's not too significant.
It really is not. And once it's done, it goes right into the opening theme song, For Your Eyes Only by, who is it? Sheena Easton?
The decidedly average song. Didn't love it. It was kind of nice to be less old sounding. Like 80s sounded a little more familiar.
Yeah. I don't like it. It's one of those where, like, it's got a fine melody. It's inoffensive. If it comes on, fine. I just don't care. And that's why I don't like it, because it's just so middle of the road that it doesn't do anything for me. So, yeah, it's one of my lower rated ones. I'm just not a big fan. I do like the opening credits, though. I do like the underwater sequences, and it's
the bubbles kind of were weird. I was like, what are we going for? The next thing that happens is a ship, but we don't know that a ship is happening, so all this water. Do they do underwater stunts in this? Yeah, they do, don't they?
They do a lot, yeah. Well, a lot is... Yeah, I would
less
say they do
than Thunderball.
It is less than Thunderball, but appropriately so. Like, I think this movie gets away with its underwater sequences because they don't do so much of it like they do with Thunderball. In fact, I was going to say, this movie is kind of a better version of Thunderball.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
It's about, someone stealing some military technology, and they're threatening to sell it, but it's they've got to get away with it. It's all underwater. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot about this movie that doesn't work for me, and a lot of it has to do with the plot, where I don't know. I've said it before. Spy movies are kind of a combination of mystery and action. And this movie kind of sucks on the mystery. And we'll get to it when we get to it. But that's where I'm at for this one. I feel like we are firmly in the action territory. And that's kind of all this movie has going for it is its action. You know what I mean?
I want to say at least halfway through, I was wondering, are we going to look exactly what is happening? Because it only feels like we're looking for an informant, and then we can do what we're trying to do. Other than that, we're going to get chased and attacked. But
yeah. But once the credits are done and we're in the movie proper, I think the highlight of this movie is the opening. The opening several scenes. But we start with this ship called the St. George's. I guess it's off the coast of... It's near Greece. It's the country north of Greece.
Crete?
Maybe more north. I
do not know the...
I gotta take a look at a world map just to see what it was. Oh, and Albania. It is the one right north of Greece, along the coast near Italy. So, it's off the coast of Albania that this St. George's is. I had to remember that because the movie keeps talking about Albania, but we never actually go there.
I think I got a little bit lost in all of the possible names and places.
Oh, yeah. This movie, it hops around. But we're mostly going to be spending our time in Greece and North Italy. And most of it will be in Greece, but we are going to spend too long in North Italy. But we start off the coast of Albania. Maybe, like, I'm picturing South Albania, near enough to Greece that the people we're going to soon meet would go there. But they are on this fishing vessel. There's this guy. He walks in and we discover it's this whole like military enclosure and it's the British Navy and they're actually doing stuff. It's so cool.
Has to be much bigger than that to fit all the stuff that they just showed.
Yeah, like how did they get all of that in there? But you know, that's what they've got. It's Doctor Who
movie
space.
Magic. It's fine. Yeah.
TARDIS space.
Little shipping. Imagine that underneath of the shipping trawlers, like an iceberg, just a whole bunch of extra space.
That's how I've always pictured it until we go underwater and see that it's just a normal ship. like in my head, I was like, this has to be like underground and stuff. But no, it's just that what we see is what we get. It'll blow your mind when you actually look at it. You'll be like, how did they fit all of this in there? But I like how the guys have to handcuff themselves to their station when they are actually working with the ATAC machine. But then as we're, watching people at work, there's an alarm because something's coming.
Something is wrong. It's a sea mine and a net.
Yeah, and this is another thing that bugs me. The dude with the net, he turns on the winch to bring in the net and then just never touches it again. People are yelling at him. He even sees the mine. He panics and he never touches it.
Well, otherwise it wouldn't happen. It just needs to happen.
True. But when it does make contact and explode, I never get the image of the dude trying to get to the self-destruct sequence out of my head. Like, I love it so much watching this guy struggle against the waters coming in as he's just trying to throw a switch to blow up a device. He knows he's going to die. Like, he is handcuffed in. It takes 2 keys to get him out, and the other dude is not coming back. So he is going to die.
He only dies from that because why do they actually need to be handcuffed to the
Yeah.
station. No bathroom breaks.
Yeah, like once you go to work, you are there, man.
It's odd.
Yeah,
I do think the name of that attack was a
I don't think
random.
they ever tell us what it stands for either.
Maybe when they're in M's office, but M's away on leave.
Yes, away
I
on
was
leave.
like, but wait. I was all sad last movie for him being gone.
And
Then
now
it's
you know
like,
why.
but he's on leave. I mean, you could could add 5 minutes to this movie. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. I do like that it takes two people to do M's job. You've got one guy for being smart and figuring out what's going on, and another guy for doubting Bond and belittling him at every turn.
Make sure you don't make a mess of it. I feel like M said nearly the same thing every time.
Exactly. That's why you need two people to do the job that M does. Yeah, that's what I always think about whenever I see this movie. And I don't want to say too much about what's going to happen in the future, but I will say that we have already met the next M, and he is neither of these two guys. He is someone else entirely. These two guys, they have been in previous movies. At least the Home Secretary has, or the Secretary of Defense, Minister of Defense. Yeah. He's been in a few movies, including Moonraker, where he apologized to Drax in the lab. So we've seen him. I don't know if we ever saw the other guy, the one who's always belittling Bond. He may be new for the movie. And I don't know if we'll ever see him again.
First scenes that you enjoyed, or was it the
Yes.
Greek family?
So I'm still enjoying myself. I'm still having a good time. Okay. Even having two people to replace M. The mystery is afoot. We've got a lead. We've got ideas in play and in motion. I think then we go to Russia to see the head of the KGB talking about how
he wants the thing.
Yeah, he's like, we're not going to go for it, but if we can get it, then let's get it. And he mentions having a guy in Greece. And we don't know who that is. We won't know for a while. But that's our first kind of lead, at least from the Russian perspective. And I guess a mislead for the audience where we're like, okay, there is a Russian in Greece who might be able to get the ATAC for the KGB. Is that who we're going to be following? And it doesn't really go anywhere because the villains in this movie kind of suck. And
yeah, it is not a good showing of the villains. It is.
Yeah. But, I'm still on board. I'm still having fun, and I'm still having a good time. And I think... Do we then have the Havelocks in Greece?
I think the Havelocks actually happened before M, but I think since they're all spliced,
yeah,
it doesn't. We can go back to it because
it is hard to keep them all in track. But I love the Havelock assassination. This is one of those things where I'm like, man, there's no such thing as a small part, just like small actors, because the guy who plays Mr. Havelock, I've forgotten the love interest's name, Melina. So Melina's dad, we first see him inside with the parrot, and he just looks so at ease. He almost looks like he could be, or at least could have been, a Bond. Like, he looks like a guy who's just comfortable and confident on camera. He runs up there, and I'm just like, wow, who is this guy? Like, he's someone important. And then he gets shot almost immediately.
I think him, and along with a future actor in this movie who's like a one-name person like Madonna, are the ones that kind of make it feel like they inhabit the film.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the villain. Is so poorly expressed. I don't know if he's supposed to be emotionless or what, but he feels like a prototype of like the Die Hard big tall blonde guys, but this he's blonde, got glasses, and doesn't say much. I think he says one line in the movie or something like that.
He doesn't say much, but I do know he does speak. I just can't remember when. Or does he speak? Maybe he never does.
Once. I think when Bond has him at the cliff because he's about to die.
See, and I think he speaks to the assassin who was flying the plane when he pays him at the pool in a few scenes or coming up very soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he may be the highlight in terms of villains in this movie, and he's not even in much of it. It's like there's all of them are so understated for this whole movie, and the heroes are the ones that kind of stand out to me. And so we've got Melina's dad, who's barely in the movie, and he stands out to me. We've got Topol, who plays I can't remember, Columbo, is that his name?
I think Columbo is right.
So we've got Columbo, another one of my favorite characters in the whole movie, and then I'm trying to remember Luigi. And then there's Luigi. I love Luigi too.
No, Luigi.
I know. Yeah. So so I'm on board for most of this opening, where I'm just like, wow, like they are really we've got a purpose, we've got something we're going for, and the KGB is involved. Like, this is gonna be a good movie. And then the movie doesn't proceed to I'm fine with when Bond goes to, I think he goes to Greece to find the assassin. I have no idea where they send him, but Melina is there.
He makes it to wherever that is. With his submarine car.
I hate this car.
He doesn't drive the submarine car, but he ends up there with it.
I think it's a Lotus, I think it's significantly uglier than the Lotus from the last movie.
I couldn't tell you if it was the same one or different, really, because it just wasn't the bulbous Bond cars that are pretty, but they do say British. I don't know if Lotus is a British brand or something, but
yeah, I don't know where the Lotus is made.
He gets to whatever party the Cuban assassin was at, and he's getting paid off by the villain. I don't know his name at all.
Locke. We'll learn it's Locke in a couple of scenes, but I remember it being Locke.
Kind of balding and blonde and wears glasses, but Bond manages to sneak in because the guards are distracted by just
pretty ladies.
Wants to make out with him for some reason. There's a lot of ladies at the pool.
Like, what's the point of having guards if they're just gonna get distracted by pretty ladies?
His guard post was kind of just there. I don't know what he could have shot Bond, but she does a favor for Bond, and Bond can sneak in to watch the payment go down. The Cuban guy dive off a board and get arrowed as he falls in and floats to the surface, and people scream.
I love when the Cuban hitman gets arrowed. When we'll learn it's Melina who takes the shot, but it's such great timing where like the sound design is there. He's jumping into the water, and then you hear it, and he does this belly flop. So clearly he died before like even reacting to it. And so everyone around laughs because it's a belly flop, but I don't know why. It works for me. It is such a good sound design, and yeah, I like it. But
it didn't come across as corny compared to the smoke tower death of
not Blofeld.
Blofeld. It actually is fine. I can see it working because arrow versus guns is kind of a better idea if you're trying to take
yeah.
someone out without giving up your position.
Melina, she doesn't use her crossbow often in this movie, but she is deadly with it, or at least she's good enough with it to kill one dude and take out a second dude. And she's always the quiet one. Like it is such a good idea to use a crossbow if you're going to be a spy. But chaos ensues. Bond's able to fight some dudes. Our guy with the glasses tells his guy to just chill, which I do kind of dig. Like, just relax, be easy. We don't have to be involved in this. This isn't our fight. And so Bond gets the guards chasing him, and the guys who paid the Cuban assassin go and collect their money.
Yeah.
Including ripping it out of a girl's hands.
It's like, oh, we got paid. No, since he's dead, we don't need to let you keep that money.
Yep. This is ours.
On to a car chase, though.
Well, before we get to the car chase, Bond finds Melina. She saves Bond by shooting a guard who is right behind him. And then they go to his Lotus, where another guard is about to break in, and the whole thing explodes.
I feel like that's a nice, easy way to move on to the next Bond car. Maybe the director hated it as much as you did.
It could be. It very well could be. Except they rebuild it when we go to the Q lab. They're going to be like, oh, I see the Lotus is back together. And I was like, well, then what was the point of blowing it up? And how did they put it back together? That was a pretty thorough explosion.
Yeah. Dismantled.
Yeah. So we got to take Melina's car, and she's essentially got a Beetle. I don't think it is a Beetle. I don't think it's even a Volkswagen. I don't think it's that good of a car. But it is.
It manages to off-road as well as it can.
It is one of my favorite car chases. So I am still fully on board with this movie. I love watching this small, dumb, little, weak car get away from two big cars with dudes with guns. I love when the car gets flipped over. I love how calm and charming Bond is throughout the entire thing, including when they flip the car back over and he's like, you don't mind if I drive, do you? Like, yeah, Bond can't let someone else drive. He can't just take shots at the people chasing them. He's got to be in charge.
Driving is more important than using whatever accuracy you've been trained to kill people with.
He's got a license to kill, so naturally he's got to drive.
Yeah. I will say this from the arrow to the end of the car chase is the action that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because aside from that, like he's introduced to Melina, I guess the villain, but then it kind of just, they get away, and it was an action sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It was enjoyable. It had a little bit of slapstick feel to it. I can't remember which part. Maybe the car landing in the tree.
Oh, yes. That is towards the end, but they do get one of the baddies' cars to crash into the top of a tree, and the baddies are okay. They're all looking around like, what? What happened? Oh, I love that. And I also love when the car flips over, but the bus stops the bad guys from coming by, and that gives everybody time to flip the good guys' cars back over. Like, it's charming. Nice helpers. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. So for me, it works, and it's not going to be until we go back to Britain that the movie starts to fall apart for me. So from the very beginning, I loved that too, even though it doesn't really fit, and it's really just a short story about how Bond finally killed Not Blofeld. Mm-hmm. All the way until now, I have been having a great time. Okay. So that's where I'm at in the movie. I'm having a really wonderful time. And
maybe you just didn't know what to do after in the middle act, because we're almost out of the first, and
Yeah.
it's been action, it's been intrigue, mystery, and set up to something that Bond has to solve.
Mm-hmm. My only real complaint with it is that in all of the other movies, Bond has been able to at least keep the investigation going. He has been able to go on a forward trajectory from start to finish. And here, by virtue of Melina killing the assassin, he has to return to MI6 and use Q-Tech to try to figure out who guy who paid the assassin was. So we do get to see a bunch of Q-Tech. We get to go to the Q branch.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's fun. I really love the umbrella and Bond's one-liner for the umbrella. So there's this beautiful woman who
it snaps down. Yeah.
Yeah, she goes up to the umbrella, she pours some water on top of it, some blades snap out, and then the whole umbrella collapses, sticking the blades into a mannequin's neck, but it would be a person's neck. And Bond turns to Q and says, "Stinging in the rain." And I chuckle every time. I can't help it. It's such a good one-liner. But yeah, I hate the identifier machine, the thing that they use. Yeah,
let's get a perfect match. I'm like, okay, it's I mean, it kind of makes the Q-Tech a little more real to have something that's like computer working, and of course Q would have this computer setup doing stuff.
And, it's already networked to every other police force in the world, at least any that are open.
Of the actual guy's face for you, and it perfect match.
Yep. First try, and they get one result, and turns out this guy always wears those octagonal glasses. He's never changed his frames in his entire career as a criminal. But we find out his name is Locke, Emile Leopold Locke, and he's likely working for smugglers in Greece, but his last known location was in northern Italy. So I'm fine with the Q-Tech. I'm not having as much fun with the identify machine because I don't think that the cartoon sketch that the computer came up with looks anything like the actor. I don't even think it's funny when they do the nose extending thing and they're like, oh, Q messed up the thing. Like, I'm just not having fun with that. And apparently neither are they, because they're in there long enough for the Q branch to close for the day.
I didn't notice that.
The girl who comes in with the tea, she hands over the tea and Q says, "You can leave, I'll close up today." I was like, you guys have been in there for that long? So, yeah, it's not my favorite part. And then when we go to Italy to meet Christatos, I have no idea how they pronounce it.
Something like that. Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the only scene, in my opinion, that is worth anything for all of Italy is when they sit down with Christatos and he runs down every crime that Columbo has committed. And the reason I like that is because when we meet Columbo will be like, he just confessed every single crime that he is currently committing. Like, he pinned all of his crimes on me.
On Columbo.
Yeah. But he just gave you a list of everything he's doing right now.
I can't wait to talk about Columbo. Let's
I don't want to jump ahead of it because he brings me back for a lot of this because I'm bummed out for much of what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I liked. I told you everything I
Assassins.
liked about this.
Snow sports.
Yes. Oh my
It's-
gosh. And then we, of course, like, all right, let's rip the Band-Aid off. I've said what I like. What I like is meeting Christatos and getting a lead in terms of where the villain is. We know he's a guy in Greece. We know he's a smuggler. And now Bond has direction. But we can't just do that. We can't just go
and take that.
First, this really irritating American girl skates up, and apparently she's being sponsored by Christatos, and she's going to be an Olympic ice skater at some point. And right now, she's just this ditzy little girl who has a thing for older men and really wants Bond to take her out on a date. I hate it so much.
Was not quite expecting that. Like, oh, she's got a crush on him. Oh, all of a sudden she's in his room. And Bond's like, oh, no. Like, I believe the in-universe idea is that she is a minor because she's doing figure skating. And
like
so Bond
16,
he
17
can't.
would be around the range of like an Olympic ice skater.
Yes, Bond, that is highly illegal. Your other escapades have dabbled in the non-consensual, so like I'm glad that you'll hit this line of no
statutory. Well, and one of the things to note about this movie, and I don't know how much of this was Roger Moore's influence, but he was done with the character in Moonraker. That was contractually his last movie. He even did a movie after Moonraker where he appeared in a tuxedo playing a spy named Roger Moore. I think it was Cannonball Run. I can't be sure, but the point is it made the producers so angry that they wrote up a new Bond contract going forward saying that if you played Bond, you could not wear a tuxedo in another movie. And this became an issue for Pierce Brosnan, who wore a tuxedo in the Thomas Crown Affair, but I think he got special permission to do it. Okay. So, yeah, Roger Moore was done. He was ready to be out, and he felt like he was too old to be running around playing this guy. So I think, part of me believes that maybe he had an influence on saying, I don't want to do all the horny stuff. Like, let's tone it back. Like, he sleeps with 2 women in this movie exactly 2 times, like once per woman. He sleeps with the Contessa, who we're going to meet in a little bit, and he sleeps with Melina at the very end. But Beatty, the ice skater, he flatly rejects. And every other woman he encounters, he's not interested in.
Interesting. I forgot about the Contessa lady, but we'll have to get to her.
Yeah, and she's coming up soon, but first we got to suffer through more of Italy. So, what's her name? Italy. Beatty is dressed, and they're now skiing to the biathlon.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to say, just on a personal note, I don't like a lot of sports. I do find some enjoyment out of the biathlon. In terms of winter sports, I think it's very interesting to have something where you're both racing and shooting, and you've got a clock that you're racing against, and then you have to stop and take shots, and if you miss, it's a time penalty. But if you sit there and wait too long, you're giving yourself a time penalty. Like, yeah, it's a fascinating sport.
It's an interesting combination. Yeah. I was very curious if there was some mania about winter sports, because
we did all of them.
Can't get away from skiing since the Secret Service one. Yeah. Okay, so we've been skiing a couple times now, and
now not only are we going to ski, we're gonna cross country ski. We're going to ski jump. We're gonna ski behind a bobsled.
Yeah, that's where I was so curious. Is like we're were there any important like Winter Olympics that happened, or like what?
I mean, 1981 was an odd year, so I don't think there were Olympics. And I thought 1980 was a Summer Olympics.
Oh, I don't know.
Let me look it up.
It was a question. But
so it would have been like 1 year away for the next Winter Olympics, 1982. So maybe they were, excited for next year's Winter Olympics.
Maybe it was a sponsor, like in Secret Service. Like,
we never had the rings.
Bad guys.
So, I don't think they did sponsor the bad guys this time around.
Well, so, I mean, it's just a whole action sequence, and it's cool. Like, motorbikes in the snow. I
completely disagree. I hate this action sequence.
Cool. I mean, in terms of a mystery and action spy movie, you're getting lots of action, but I think that's where, you start to lose the feel of, okay, he has information, we've got to check in with BB.
Oh my gosh, you know who else we forgot? Because we also forgot that someone called and sent a telegram to Melina to tell her to come to northern Italy to have her killed. And the reason I bring this up,
she's there.
Like, this should have been the hint to Bond that whoever is trying to kill Melina is here in North Italy. And between Christatos and Colombo, I only see one of them in North Italy. But it doesn't go anywhere. Like, it's one of those things where it's just another scene where there's some light action. There's the carriage ride. Then we get to BB and all that stuff. Like, I just don't like it. I don't like it. All of North Italy just does not work for me. No matter how you put it together. I just don't like it. Just doesn't work.
I was the end of the chase scene. The biathlon guy is apparently an assassin trying to kill Bond. He crashes into a place with his motorbike, and his gun gets bent, so he hucks it at Bond, and it doesn't get to Bond. So then he hefts up the motorcycle he was just on and chucks that at Bond.
And it goes less far than the gun went. Like, why didn't he run? Why didn't he just move his stupid feet down the hill while Bond is desperately trying to get his skis back on? Like, ugh. I dislike, I think it's Eric, something or other. Eric Kriegler. Yeah. But, as far as hitmen go, he sets himself apart as being someone who, the rumor is that he's an East German defect. That's the reason that he's here in North Italy competing. And now he's rushing away to fight Bond. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, this is a good cover story. If I were a spy, to be a professional level athlete who's just not good enough to be number one. And I'm not good enough because sometimes I have to leave an event to go kill someone.
Yeah. Does he come back? I can't remember.
He does. He's going to be throughout the movie. He's going to turn out to be the KGB's man in Greece. I don't know if they ever tell us that. We do eventually find out that he is working actively for the KGB, but he's the one that the head of the KGB was talking about when he said, I've got a man in Greece. So he's already on the scene. He clearly knows that Christatos has the machine that they're looking for, the ATAC. So Bond is behind. Like, he is way behind on this mission so far, but it doesn't matter because Kriegler just acts like a henchman the whole movie. He's a terrible spy too.
Yeah. We're not even out of
I keep kicking
the hockey.
I keep kicking a rock because I don't want to talk about it, but we got to talk about it because Bond sees BB again. That character
One
I
last time.
dislike so much.
Not for the last time.
Yeah, not for the last time. We're going to see her again, but, you know, she's in the movie, so Bond tries to get some information from her about he wants to get information about Kriegler. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not asking about Christados. He's like, tell me about Eric. Tell me more about him. And then she skates off to go get her rub down. Athletes are weird, man. Anyway, as she's leaving, 3 hockey players come onto the ice, and
expressly to mess with Bond.
Yeah, and this is another hint that whoever doesn't want Bond looking into this is currently in Italy.
How do they know where you are? Well, they're right. They're right here.
Yeah.
They're not far away.
So Bond's really bad at figuring out the mystery so far because he then gets into the fight with the hockey guys. It has a slapstick ending when the third guy goes in and they do an end of the game buzzer sound. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, who has the buzzer? Like, who's watching this fight right now?
we gotta know when the round is over.
Yes.
Bond is Rocky Balboa. He's got to finished off the hockey guys. Now he can leave to his devastation that his contact Luigi has been garroted.
Luigi is dead. Oh, and he's got this dove pin, the dove pin of Columbo's shipping company.
Yeah. And I think the other blonde guy had one on his shirt when they were at the ski jump. Or something like that.
Locke,
I remember seeing it.
From the moment that Christados sends Bond after Columbo, Locke starts wearing that dove pin. So on my second viewing of the movie, I was trying to pay closer attention. And when we first see Locke at the beginning of the movie, I don't remember seeing him have a dove pin while he's talking to the assassin at the pool. And so I think it's only after Christados says, go after Columbo, that I think Locke starts wearing that pin. And he wears it for the entire ski chase. He wears it at the ski jump. One cute thing that I learned today about the ski jump is that, what's his name? Charles Dance, who plays a villain in a lot of movies. One of his first movie appearances was as a henchman in this movie. He's the guy who gets on the skis for the ski jump. And
I love him in Last Action Hero.
Yes.
It's a ridiculous show.
He is that's one of my favorite movies
villain.
Anyway. And he is such a great villain in it. Like, I just love Last Action Hero. I think it's just a brilliant action comedy with a lot of meta references. And I just think it works on every level. And I think Charles Dance is a highlight in that movie. He is such a perfect villain. And our first view of him is just as a dude who gets on skis and gets knocked out by Bond. It's a very small... You
gotta be close to greatness to start your career.
I mean, he had been doing stage and television before that, but this was one of his first big screen appearances. And, that just tickled me when I heard that. I was like, really? Like, he's such a great villain. And he was just a nobody in this movie. But with that dove pin, we now know that we can go to Greece, specifically the small island of Corfu, where we can find Columbo and learn more about him.
We gotta play cards first. No,
yes,
we can't find Columbo yet.
We gotta play cards, and it looked to me like Bond made about. So I did a little bit of math. Well, I did a little bit of Googling for money.
Sure.
Back in 1981, in Greece, they were using drachma. From what I can understand, it was a pretty high exchange rate. But if we were looking at 1 million drachma in terms of chips, that is roughly $66,000 US.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
For today.
In 88?
No, in
today.
80. Sorry. In 88, I think it's like 45,000 or 81. Sorry. It's like 45,000. So it's still a highly respectable amount. But then, inflation today, you're in the 60s. But he also had 1 million chips that he won. So he had 1 million next to him, and then he won 1 million while we were watching. So he easily made, by today's standard, like close to $130,000 and just one night. Like, no wonder he can't be bought. Like, he is so wealthy just from gambling.
Yeah, what else do you need?
But that's where we're gonna meet the Contessa, because she comes up to this French guy and convinces him to bet it all on his bad hand. And when Bond wins, Christatos leers over his shoulder to be like, "Hey, I can show you Colombo." And I was just sitting here like, why is Christatos there? Like, did they plan to meet in Corfu? Like, was this?
I don't remember them planning.
Yeah.
That.
To me, he just shows up out of nowhere. Like, ta-da, here I am. But, now we finally get to meet Colombo, played by Topol, who was, of course, I think he was Fabian in Fiddler on the Roof.
What's his name? No, it's so tip of my tongue. Oh, Fiddler.
Yeah, I'm looking it up too. I'm sitting here like, on the roof. What was his? Tevye.
Yeah, I was like,
it's been a long time since I have watched Fiddler on the Roof. It's, I don't know if I would say it's still one of my favorite musicals, because I don't really like musicals as much anymore. Yeah. But the last time I watched it, I remember just thinking like, this is so much fun, and I loved Topol in it.
I did not recognize him as Tevye until I think like the climbing of at the end. Like, I was like, this guy is just very convincing and genuine, and like he feels like he exists in this movie. And like, where the blonde villain guy with glasses, take him or leave him, but Topol is just eating it up.
Oh yeah, like
I am this man, and okay, I believe you.
And he eats it up from the beginning. Like, when we first see him, he's just quietly sitting off in the distance talking to the Contessa. Then he gets up to leave, and we get to watch him silently listen to this recording. And then he comes back and he makes a big scene to get rid of the Contessa. And it's from, every moment that I'm seeing him, I'm like, this guy is awesome. And from Bond's perspective, he is the villain. He's the guy that we're going after. Yeah. And like, he's selling it. He's a big presence. It's a good one. But of course, the Contessa, as she's leaving, tries to lure Bond her way. And Christatos is like, here, take my car. Like, I'll just hang out here and gamble in Colombo's establishment. We hate each other, but, I'll just gamble here.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
It's
trying to think of even any intention and like, go with the Contessa because then we know where you are, so we can send my goons after you. I guess maybe.
That's the best explanation I have heard. Like, it's significantly better than I think I got from the movie. But, Bond sleeps with his first woman of the movie. It is Countess Liesel von Schlaff, who is not actually Liesel von Schlaff. She's really a girl from the UK, and we never get to learn her British actual name. Yeah. We never get to learn what she really is, because Bond will call her Liesel, even when she's running away from him. But she's essentially like, Colombo wanted me to find out about you, and he knows you're a spy. He just wanted to know more about you, and that's why I'm here, and I've got a good opinion of you, so we're good. Like,
we're good.
Everything's good. Like, go be a spy, go do your thing, man. Like, Everything's good here.
It's like at this point is where I was back to thinking, are we finally going to talk about the attack? The thing that we're looking for? Or are we...
Nope.
Why are we talking so much?
We've completely forgotten it at this point. We don't care. We don't care. Like we're going after Columbo, maybe. I don't know. Like he's not going after us. Like I don't know. This is where the plot starts to unwind a little bit, and I think this is the reason why a lot of people get upset about the movie. And I think you could point to the scene with the Countess as the number one sign that this movie is falling apart, because presumably she is a lackey for our villain, but you know, she's just sitting here being like, we're fine, the vibes are right. Yeah. Like, I'm into you, you're into me, I'm gonna tell my boss that you're a good guy, like nothing to worry about. Like, so what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, big picture, backing out from the beginning and end of hers, they wake up and are on the beach somehow, and
yeah, they're just having a date.
The one dude, the blonde dude, the octagonal glasses, and they get the jump on him. The stunt woman does fantastic jump work into the car. I was like, that looks like someone got run over.
Yeah, I hope they had like a helmet on, or that was like breakaway glass or something, because that is a windshield that gets hit by something. Like it looked brutal. Oof. Yeah, it's a sand buggy that hits Liesel. If you have not watched the movie, we're going to spoil the hell out of this thing, so you probably shouldn't be listening to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Liesel dies, like, it is brutal.
But she threw a fit at Columbo so she could talk to James. Probably didn't have to, because she could still talk to
that was
James.
Columbo's order. And she tells James that the night before. She's like, the reason we threw that whole scene was for your benefit, to get you out of there and for her to chat with him.
I'm starting to piece it together a bit better, because the Charles Dance and blonde guys show up and kill them, or kill Liesel. But then Columbo's guys come and knock out Bond, saving him.
Well, they kill Charles Dance, who I don't think ever gets a name in this movie, so we're just going to keep calling him Charles Dance. So they kill Charles Dance, and Locke drives away. And then Bond goes straight for Liesel, and he's like, oh man, she's upset. And then he turns to look at these men who knock him out. And he's like, wait, what are you guys doing?
Saved you so you could talk to the boss and find out that he's actually a smuggler with a golden heart. And dang if he doesn't turn on the charm, because
man,
I was like, okay, I believe you.
I'm on his side. I am bought in.
Like, I'm between you and the Last Crusade fella. I sure, I believe you.
I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah, the guy who plays Christados played a much better villain in The Last Crusade than he did in this movie. But and that may have been intentional. That may have been to throw us off. But from this point on, the ruse is up, and Christados fully becomes the villain. And all it took was 5 minutes of Columbo being like, hey man, he confessed every crime to you. I'm going to take you to one of his areas to show you everything that he smuggles, and I'm going to give you your gun back. And that's all it takes for Bond to be like, okay, I'm on your side now. And it only took me like up until him pouring the brandy for me to be on his side. Like, I was bought in before Bond was.
I was kind of stuck on all this chewing he was doing.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
What are all these nuts?
He loves those pistachio nuts.
I guess pistachios, It's very confused. Like, okay. But yeah, he uses them, because
so the next thing we do is an invasion on one of Christados's smuggling ports, where Locke just happens to be, and he's overseeing all of this. And apparently they're smuggling weapons and opium. That's what we discover from this scene. We don't learn anything else. This is just a scene to confirm that Christados is the bad guy. But yeah, they go, they have their gunfight. Nobody notices this sailing vessel coming up to the dock. They get right up there before they even take down their white sails on their white ship. Ooh, that part made me a little mad. But, it's a fun little warehouse invasion. Lots of people get shot. Columbo's charming as all get out. The dude who knocked out Bond starts to have a bigger presence in the movie, and he's also charming. I don't know if he ever says a single line. He just shoots a dude, or he throws a knife at a dude who's shooting at Bond, and then gives this big charming smile, and I'm like, oh man, I like this guy. So like of Columbo's guys, I'm fully on board with.
I'm glad to see them as a team that Bond can kind of rely on. Mm-hmm. I do think the climbing scene later kind of detracts from how well they can actually help Bond, because yeah,
they don't do a lot in the next. This is their most
they watch a lot
activity that they do in this particular movie. They invade this warehouse, and so I think this is the part where Bond chases Locke, and it is a little silly.
Oh yeah, way silly.
But it works at the same time. Like, I don't know. I'm of two minds. Like,
he's doing the Tom Cruise. Like,
yes,
he's got to race him up the mountain, and I'm like, you would be so dead. All those stairs. In this car, sure, is driving along this little tunnel, but you managed to shoot him and stop everything. But you would have been so wiped out.
Oh yeah,
that's
like
ridiculous.
I don't think he could have held the gun up after running up a mountain on foot. But apparently the stairs that Bond chose were a faster route than the road that Locke has to drive. Supposedly Bond did not like the conclusion of Locke. So he shoots Locke through the windshield, which forces Locke to turn the wheel and therefore not crash into Bond. Instead, he crashes into a wall that's hanging over a cliff's edge. And then Bond says something about, you left this with Luigi, and throws the pin and then kicks the car. And apparently Roger Moore thought that was too cruel. He was outvoted, obviously, because what happens in the movie. But he didn't want to do that. He thought that he should have just stood there and watched the car topple over, because the car was going to topple over anyway. I don't know if Bond kicking had any effect. But Locke is dead. Charles Dance is dead. Those are our two biggest henchmen besides Eric Kriegler. And we are just about to learn. Well, we're not just about to learn. We've all we know now is that our number one source was Locke. Now we think that Christados is the bad guy. At least Columbo seems like a good guy, and Bond has to figure he's back to square one. He's like, I don't know what to do now. I think Christados is the bad guy, but I don't know how to find the ATAC. I don't know how to do anything. So he goes and he hangs out with Melina.
Maybe she'll have something for us to find. And their underwater scene was, I think I appreciate it better than actual underwater acting, like with Sean Connery. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's not actually underwater, but you can light it and show it, and you can see the actors a little better. If it doesn't need to be shot underwater, go ahead and just do this way. So I appreciaed that.
Yeah. But, I do like the underwater sequences. I like that, well, so essentially he goes into Melina's dad's office, and they find his notes where he was going on this salvaging journey. Apparently he kept very good notes for it, because that's where they're going to go with their little portable submarine and all that stuff. I know they go into town at some point, but I don't know why.
I don't have anything in my notes as for why I know they were underwater. She left her scuba gear and they went up to the boat, found the stuff. And
I do love that they left the scuba gear and that they made a point of leaving the scuba gear, where she's like,
I was so confused.
Yeah, same. Like watching it, it's stuck in my head because I was like, why is she leaving this here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And as I thought about it throughout the movie, I was like, okay, well, this is a work site. And if that is still a fine scuba gear, she hasn't, used too much of the oxygen, then I could see maybe leaving that, maybe taking a fresh one down, putting the fresh one to the side and using the used one to continue working later. Like in my head, I'm sitting here like thinking, okay, it's fine. But the point is, the movie had me thinking about the fact that she left her scuba tank behind.
Yeah.
And that I thought was clever.
Waited for them to use it.
They will use it. It is going to come up. They will use it. I like when they go for the ATAC. So I don't know what else happens in Greece. I know they go shopping at some point. I know that there are some scenes with Melina, but I don't care about them. All I want to talk about is that cool little submarine that they go into.
It looks like, I feel like whatever budget they had, it was spent on these actual underwater artifacts. Like all these scuba gear things that have giant helmets, and then this giant, the crush depth one.
Mm-hmm.
When did The Abyss come out? Were
that
they
was
like
90s?
90s? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think when did it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not a franchise. We're never going to talk about it in this podcast. But they get into their submarine, they get into their little diving suits, and of course, as soon as they are out in the water, Bond turns to her and says, "Let's conserve our oxygen and not say anything we don't have to say." Why didn't you say that inside the submarine? It's just a dumb thing that I just always think about whenever I hear that stupid line. I'm always like, you just used up oxygen to say that. Like, why? And then, of course, it is absolutely essential for him to deliver a one-liner when a shark comes out and scares both of them. Bond turns to Melina and says, "Let's hope he was dining alone." It's mission critical that he makes that one-liner.
I wonder if that mini sub just had enough space for all this, because it's kind of like the other ship where, where's all that British attack gear actually resting underwater? Like, they can get in and out of this mini sub, and
it's got a flood room.
Yeah,
like
that seems so big for a smallish sub.
It's got TARDIS space on the inside.
Respect that they actually got the shots of the place underwater. And then there was a whole submarine fight.
Yes.
they fight with the crush depth thing inside there, get the stuff they need, blow that up. Then they fight with another sub, and it has been a lot of action and a little bit of plot.
Yeah.
But at least they have the thing they were looking for now.
Yeah, they've got the MacGuffin, they've got the ATAC. Yeah. It's now in Bond's hands, and I do really like the underwater action. For once, I am now fully invested in the underwater action. I feel like it was well paced. I feel like every punch, every move, the two submarines fighting each other, I feel like all of it worked. I don't think he killed the second guy underwater, the guy in the actual submarine. I think he just made him get stuck in the wreckage the St. George's.
Kinda, yeah. I don't recall.
So I think he only kills the guy in the diving suit with the little grenade that he sticks to his head. And you just hear the clock ticking for the entire fight while that guy is fighting. And that also sticks with me because, like, he looks up at it a few times. He even tries to slam into a few things to knock off whatever was on his head. And then he just resigns himself to the fact that while it is ticking, he's alive. Therefore, he needs to fight. And I love that about him. Like, so that underwater fight works for me.
They do a lot of nice shots. Like, they're floating around the little ruins that they found and are cleaning up.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they get loaded back up on the ship and are immediately taken by the bad guys.
Christados is on her ship, and he presumably has killed her entire crew.
Why send a crew down after them? They're here.
I know. Yeah, like that's a great question. I hadn't considered that.
Like
he already won.
You wanted someone to retrieve it for you, so
yeah, and Bond has done it. Like, did you just need to waste time so that you could kill the entire crew? Like, I don't know. Like, It sounds like he did it immediately. But, you know, regardless, oh my gosh, that's going to irritate me so hard. It had never crossed my mind.
Nothing had to happen for them to bring it back to the ship that you guys were on.
Why?
If you
Why
wanted
did they
to kill
send
Bond
those
down there,
two guys?
if you had wanted to kill him down there, well, he's here now. Why don't you just kill him? No.
Nope.
We have to.
To their defense, they are going to kill him. They just want to do it in a very elaborate, convoluted way, you know?
Yeah.
And to their defense, they're killing them where they are. They're not killing them, you know, at a second location. They tie them up, and they tie them to the boat, and their elaborate assassination scheme is to drag them across coral, causing blood to go into the water and getting the sharks all excited. And then we have some more stupid sharks. I don't think any of these movies has done a good shark. Well, I kind of like the Thunderball sharks until the end.
There's one shot in this where the bad guy falls in, and the shark looks like it nabs him.
Oh yeah,
and
it looks like someone got actually bit. Like,
I was like, how is that acted? Because. Eesh.
And to my knowledge, the only death in this movie, the real life death, was during the shooting of the bobsled scene, where I don't know which stuntman it was, but there was an accident that led to a stuntman dying. So whoever got bit by that shark is just fine, I guess.
I put in my notes that it looked like one of the flips from like a motorcycle trap. It looked like the motorcycle landed on that guy's ankle, like 100%.
That one did look. I've watched that a couple of times now, and it does look like that motorcycle at least clips his ankle, and those are spiked wheels on those motorcycles. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but what makes me angry about that in particular is that in reference to the scene, Bond has freed himself on the first pass, and then on this second pass, there's even more blood in the water. Bond wraps up the rope on a large piece of coral. It breaks the rope. That's what knocks the henchman into the water. Bond has blood coming out of his back. There is a shark near Bond, but because a henchman fell in the water, all the sharks go up to the henchman. And they proceed to not be a threat to Bond and Melina for the rest of their swim. Like, it makes me so mad.
And because they left the scuba gear there, they can pretend to be dead. And I imagine they just share
they just share it until they decide to go up. And I still think they went up too soon because I could see the boat pretty clearly. But, you know, now we've got ATAC in the hands of the bad guys. So the bad guys have the MacGuffin. We've got Bond with Melina, and her entire crew is dead. Like, Melina has lost everything. Her family died at the beginning, and just now her entire crew that she has pretty much known her whole life is dead as well.
Didn't you hear at the beginning when they first meet in that yellow cab, she says something like, Greek women always take revenge for their loved ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we just making up catchphrases now? Because
I've never heard that before. History doesn't really say that. Like, I think they get as much revenge as others. Yeah, like she really does.
Yeah.
But she's got a cool head on her shoulders as they go back to her dad's office, and they have no leads. They once again, for like the third or fourth time in this movie, Bond doesn't have anything. He's dead in the water. Fortunately, the parrot was listening. And so he says, ATAC to St. Cyril's. And
I feel like I completely missed that part. Because was the bird in the boat or the bird in the place?
So when... I cannot tell you exactly. I think while Bond and Melina were being tied up, we had a brief scene in the office with Christados and Kriegler, where they have the ATAC, and Kriegler's like, I'll take this to my contact and then we'll wire the money to you. And Christados like, ha ha ha, yeah, right. Like, that's not the deal. We're going to meet where I want to meet. We're going to take the ATAC to St. Cyril's. And that is the line that gets said. But this is where we learn that Kriegler is not a henchman working for Christados. He is a spy working for the KGB. And therefore, Christados cannot really count on him, but he will be at Christados' side for the rest of the movie because neither of them want to leave the ATAC. So that was the scene we missed, was just that little reveal. But, and then just so we're thorough, there is another scene with Q. It's fine.
Because they went shopping, They went shopping. Bond goes to the confessional, and
they went to the St. Cyril's church. So, and I do remember looking at it. So they have it in Greek, and then they have the English translation of St. Cyril's. And I'm like, wow, that was easy. And it's just Q in the confessional. So it wasn't that easy.
Right after that is where I wrote down that I realized that it's Tevye. Because they have all the climbing gear, and it's just it's a little bit better close-up shot of him. And then it was like, okay, his face is from Fiddler on the Roof. Okay.
Yeah, that's his big movie role. If any of you are watching it and being like, who is he? I think he won awards for it. Like it's what he was known for forever. But the Q scene is so unnecessary because, it's a misdirect to the audience where they're like, there's St. Cyril's. It's easy. Nope, it's not that easy. There's Q. Q's like, there's hundreds of St. Cyril's in Greece. We'll never find it. And Bond's like, I bet I know someone who knows. Why did we talk to Q at all? If Columbo was the lead, why did we ever go talk to Q?
There's no good reason.
There is no good reason. It is a completely unnecessary scene. It's one of the things that just irks me a little bit about this movie. This movie just needles me in all the wrong ways. Like, there are just little bits of this movie or all of North Italy where I'm just like, why are we here? What is happening? But
my least favorite scene is this next one with the rock climbing, because
really
I think I got bugged initially at the very far shot from where they're like, okay, that's the rock that we have to climb.
Yeah.
It is
1,000 miles away.
So far away. And Bond is like, okay, I'll head out. And I was like, okay, so they must be planning something different for, like, maybe they'll come around some other way. Because if Bond's going to take half an hour to walk to that, Like, no. Actually, they're
He's
at
right
the base
there.
of this thing. Right? It takes seconds to get to this, to climb this. Okay. So then they stay there and they watch him do all this climbing and setup. Like, I get that he's lead climbing, but you could just, I don't know, maybe leave. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how else would you do this to say, okay, this is why we can see what Bond's doing. Like, well, you can see what Bond's doing because you just put the camera there. You don't have to see it from far away. Like, this is Bond. Oh, this is the people watching Bond. Bond climbs and gets kicked off of it by one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
Then doesn't raise any alarms.
Yeah.
He just waits. He tries to take care of it himself.
Exactly. He is the man for the job. He never calls to anyone. I mean, he does make a lot of noise because he uses his gun as a hammer to knock off the thing. So we could say it's other people's fault for not coming when they hear the sound of hammering on the wall. But he does not ask. He gets the rope. He ties it up. He doesn't even tie it around himself. He uses one hand to hold on to the rope. And like, he's just like, I got this. This is all me, baby.
I do appreciate the fact that they're, well, maybe it's just my own context of the guns that the henchmen and bad guys use are all Lugers. And it feels very like, okay, so in Indiana Jones, this guy's a Nazi. But, like, is that what we're going for here with the Northern Italy? Like, maybe.
Fascism all the way, baby. No, I mean, we're in Greece now. We're in St. Cyril's.
Oh, right. So I said this was my least favorite one, mostly because it's action that drags on and just didn't feel as action-y as the other ones. Like,
see, and I think St. Cyril's is where I'm back into the movie. Like, yeah. And it might be because I'm scared of heights, and I'm a sucker for any time a movie, even when it's bad green screen, my brain just immediately says, we're high up. Let's get those hands sweating. And this movie did it to me. My hands started sweating watching Bond up there and, watching a stuntman hang from a rope. That got my hands all sweaty. So it worked for me. I was fine with it.
Okay.
I think the slowest part of it, and it's necessary to be this slow, is when he's using the crank or the what is it? He's using the basket. Yeah. And he's just bringing it down and bringing it up. And there's one henchman who's like, wait a minute. The doors are locked and there's the basket gone. I'm just gonna slowly look around a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's points for the henchman being considerate and logical. Like, hold on.
Now he does nearly discover, because he's the one who goes to, actually check the basket, and it's Melina who gets her second shot with the crossbow. She doesn't kill him, but, she does put a bolt into him instead of the dude using a very loud weapon. So Melina was the one who kept the mission going. But yeah, it's that's to me the slowest part. And it feels kind of necessary because it's going to be a long descent for that basket.
It's also a slow ascent.
Yeah. And they have to wait for another trip, which thankfully they make it. It happens like bang, bang. In a second.
And they're here.
Exactly. They supercut that one. But then we discover that BB is running away from Christados because we need to have BB in this movie. I don't know why, but we need to have her in this stupid movie. She ruins
Bond,
this for me.
He's got the dead woman that he slept with that he can be, what do you call it? Like a white knight for. And then he's got the live woman that he will not touch. that he can also be a white knight for. So, I mean...
That's true. He's got to be a white knight for somebody, because he doesn't need to be one for Melina. She's here on revenge. Like, she doesn't need a white knight. She needs Bond to get out of her way because she wants to kill Christados. And I do love that about Melina. Like, she is a focused woman who is going to get revenge. And
can make it happen.
Yeah. But, you know, we secure the chapel. I think it's a very efficient scene that feels good. There are a lot of like those military type movies where you'll have a small group of people infiltrating an area and just quietly securing this entire building. And we get that here in 1981 with Bond and 5 Greeks. They get in, they secure the entire facility, including BB's teacher, Miss Brink, I think is her name, where she's like, we're running away, and he's like, you help us, we'll help you. And she's like, deal, we're on board.
Like, okay, yep.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm in it. So I like that.
He's trying to kill us already, so we're out of here.
Yeah. We are on board. Okie dokie, let's go. I'm going to show you exactly where the bad guys sleep. But then we, you know, because we need to, there's a big fight right outside of the room where Christados and Kriegler are, and the KGB is on their way, and it all breaks down into a big action set piece scene, and there's lots of chaos and confusion and people fighting. And eventually,
like the volcano lair.
Like it really is frantic and things are going on. The only thing that's not happening is the mountain is not exploding. Like that's really the only thing that doesn't feel Bond to me. But that's the director who wanted to have a more down to earth movie. And so we've got the KGB landing at St. Cyril's. We've got Bond holding the ATAC. We've got a knife in Christados' back. We've got Kriegler, who has fallen off of the cliff. Columbo passes out after throwing the knife at Christados, and Melina didn't get her revenge, but the guy is dead anyway, and so she doesn't need to build 2 graves, whatever the line was. Dig 2 graves. But I really love the interaction between Bond and the head of the KGB. I think that's where the movie should have ended. I'm kind of mad that the movie continued after this, because it's Bond with the head of the KGB and his pilot with a machine gun, and Bond just tosses the ATAC and destroys it. And he turns to the head of the KGB and says, "That's détente, comrade. You don't have it. I don't have it." And the head of the KGB starts laughing, and he just gets this big smile on his face, and he just has all this respect and love for Bond. Like, naturally, they're enemies. They're not going to, go have a drink. But I imagine if the Cold War wasn't happening, I could see the head of the KGB wanting to have a drink with Bond. Like, I think that he has a lot of respect for the guy. And that's, to me, that should have been credits. That should have been the end.
Yeah, I mean, we have the usual wind down part, but sticking with the ATAC and KGB, I did not feel the same way about whatever mutual respect was there to not just I feel like you're already in an international incident. Killing Bond or killing the head of the KGB, either direction, won't hurt if you keep the ATAC. Like, if you kill Bond and take it, like, he loses, sure. If you kill the KGB and his guy, I guess, did Bond...
I don't think Bond had a gun at that point. He
so
lost
he didn't have
his
anything
gun
else
at
to
some
do,
point. Yeah.
I guess. But
he had no weapons on him. He only had the ATAC in hand. The pilot had a gun on Bond. Even when Bond threw it, the guy was about to shoot Bond, and it was the head of the KGB who was like, "Nyet," and put the gun down to be like, "Don't do this." But that's because he's, in Western territory. He's in Greece.
Yeah.
Like, that would be an international incident. If
the
Bond
détente
had a weapon, he could have popped both of them. You are correct. They're in Greece. What's Moscow going to do about it? But if Bond had a weapon,
like
he would have
the
shot
resolution just didn't land for me, because you chase this MacGuffin, and to win is to neither of us have it.
Yep.
Like, that's like this last Mission Impossible movie coming out. I'm like, I feel like the good guy has to win, but this is just neither of them losing. So,
see, and I think it's both losing, but neither winning, and that's kind of the point of the Cold War in general. But
yeah,
I do get what you're saying. We've spent the entire movie chasing this MacGuffin, and it is gone.
And we even forgot about it for like 30 minutes. So.
Yeah, like it was out of our minds. Oh my gosh. It is a pointless MacGuffin.
We blew it up. Okay, well, I guess we made sure nobody has it.
Yep.
That probably kept it from the charm of Tevye keeping me engaged through the fight. Like, oh, okay, so we finally got here. We finally beat the bad guy, and we have the thing. But the KGB's here. What will Bond do next? I guess if that's the only option, he did the smart thing, resolved it to some degree, but just disappointing.
Yeah. See, and I think I like it because it reminds me of The Art of War, where, one of the ways to beat your enemy is to make sure that what your enemy wants is no longer available, Yeah. If your enemy wants your farmland and you cannot beat your enemy, then destroy the farmland. And there's nothing that the enemy wants anymore. And so in this case, if your enemy wants the ATAC and you have no way of stopping them, destroy the ATAC, and your enemy has to leave. There's nothing left for them here. So for me, it worked only for that philosophical note. But what did not work for me was the fact that Columbo, who appeared to die by throwing a knife at Christados, he's okay now, and Bibi is gonna be nursing him back to health, and he gives her some pistachios.
I was like, was this a character decision by the actor? Because, okay.
He's really into pistachios. He lists it as one of his crimes. He's like, I smuggle this and that and pistachio nuts, and like, so he really likes those pistachios. That's his thing. And then we go back to Melina's boat for our romantic evening, because we gotta have a stupid, one little tag at the end where Bond's getting busy.
There's a funny thing that you can talk about as you leave the movie theater.
Yeah.
And it's slightly taboo, so, maybe other people will want to see it when they hear you simpering and giggling about it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's clever how they set it up. They've got, Bond has a radio watch. So for the first time in like 3 movies, I'm not wondering how MI6 was able to. Yeah. How'd you get this number? Now, using his personal watch, that makes sense. So I'm fine with that. But he gives the watch to the parrot so Max can talk to the Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher. I don't know what Margaret Thatcher looked like, but apparently the actress they cast kind of looked and sounded like her, at least enough to...
From what I could think of in any ideas I've had of her. Yeah, sounds like it. Enough for me to be like, hold on. Would they really? They technically they probably could have asked.
They
could have. The Queen would be down for it.
Yeah, like the Queen has done Bond related stuff,
right.
But from what I get, Margaret Thatcher may have been a zero vibes type of person. Where I don't know if she would have gotten the joke, and she might not have enjoyed it as much, or it's just possible that she's just bad at acting, and so they're like, let's get a real actor.
It is not the real Margaret Thatcher. I was curious.
Yeah, so they have, a cute, fun little scene where Max asks Margaret Thatcher to give us a kiss, and Margaret Thatcher blushes at the idea that Bond wants to get a kiss from the Prime Minister, and then Q starts messing with the controls, and it's typical, but it's also a little bit improved. I just am kind of getting bored with the shtick, with the trope, as it were.
No henchmen to bother things.
There's just zero henchmen.
Just the Prime Minister.
That popped right into my head as soon as I said that, and while you were saying it, I was like, wait a minute, there's another trope that they did not do at all in this movie. There is never a henchman to come and get revenge on the death of Christados. Like, it is... Wow.
Just ended with him.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, we get the stupid line drop when Melina takes off her robe and says, "For your eyes only, darling." And, it's so stupid.
That one's real bad.
Yeah. That might be the worst use of the title in any Bond movie. It's just, I hate it so much. And it's like the last line that she or Bond say. Yeah. So dumb. Yeah. But we made it. We made it through another one, and it's
in the past. Rafiki's wisdom on that one. But it hurts. It's in the past. Who cares? I will never watch this again.
All right, well, let's get into it really fast. On this podcast, we do reviews, not ratings, or grades, rather. A lot of people will review something and say a 7 out of 10 is average, but that is not average. That is 7 out of 10. That's way up there. We say a 5 out of 10 is average. So with that in mind, Justin, take us straight to the reviews. What would you give it?
I have not really rated anything yet below a 2.5 and nothing above a 7. This fills the gap out a little bit more. This is just 5. This is
really
that much.
That it does surprise me to hear that it's a 5 from you. I thought you were going to give it like a 3.
The bad parts are... there was so much talking. It was so... I feel like we didn't need any more exposition. It was just adding complications.
Yeah.
And we feel like so many side quests to get to anything remotely about the A-Tech. Here's the opium. Oh, here's the guy with pistachios. And here's the KGB guy. Like, okay, well, then we're finally going to resolve.
Here's a bobsled.
The opening scene of this ship going down, we're going to resolve it. It's something important. When it's not been important for, like, the rest of the movie. Tevye probably is one of those rankings all by himself because he was just enjoyable. He was an enjoyable guy.
I love Columbo. He is a standout in this movie. In terms of character, for me, he is the 10 out of 10 character of the movie. Oh, yeah.
5 is decent for me. Some people might enjoy the Cold War type feel and just the set piece actions. I feel like there's Mission Impossible movie that probably feels like kind of like the second one. That's
I was
very
just
stylized,
about to say maybe 2,
but incredibly weird. Average person probably be fine with it if they like Bond.
I mean, if we want to briefly discuss that, the current rating is in the high 6s, sometimes 7s, which kind of surprises me. Because like you, I'm at a 5. I'm also at a 5. I think this is as average as a movie can be. There are some parts that really make me angry. Like there are some parts where I'm like, ooh, this is the worst, but they aren't as long as other movies. The Man with the Golden Gun, when we go to Thailand for like half of the movie, and it's the worst. That kind of, I get that feeling when we go to Italy, where there's really only one scene that's worthwhile, and the rest of it is just kind of bogged down. But then there are other parts of this movie that are so good in my eyes. There are parts that I feel really capture the time. They capture the characters. They've got a distinct look and feel. Columbo as a character is incredible. He's just one of those standout characters. And it's because Topol as an actor is just someone with so much gravitas that you can count on him to really carry a performance. And he does it so well in this. So like anytime I think about this movie, I'm usually thinking about Columbo and thinking about the guy with the pistachios and how weird he is, but how charming he is and just how much fun it is. But then I also think about Bibi and how much I hate her. She's my 1 out of 10 character for this movie, where like cut her out completely. And I am way happier. Yeah. I think we're looking at a 6 out of 10 movie without Bibi. The plot just meanders. And as I mentioned, there are multiple points where Bond has nothing, where he is just done. And it's luck that gets him back on track. And that just doesn't work for me. I don't really enjoy watching Bond be dead in the water. I have more fun with a Bond who is always playing it cool and always knows where to go next. You know, that's the Bond that I get excited watching. Really great action, really great stunt work, really interesting pieces and elements. There's something to be said for understated villains that are just normal human beings with normal greed and normal desires, but not trying to poison the world or kill all the humans or take over the world governments. Like,
Bond can handle them.
Yeah, like this is an interesting turn. It just kind of sucks that Christados is so understated and kind of just there, especially when we know that this actor can be a really impressive villain. So it just kind of sucks that this villain is lame. So yeah, I'm with you. 5 out of 10, and I would watch it again. I've watched this movie multiple times. I've been frustrated and delighted by it every time I watch it. So I'm on the positive side of a 5, and it sounds like you're on the negative side of a 5.
Yeah, could have slid to a 4.5, and but 5 sounds just fine.
Yeah. So I think that's fair and good. If you want to support this show as you are listening at home, whatever podcatcher you are listening on, interact with it in some way. Maybe share this episode with your friends, especially if you enjoyed or hated For Your Eyes Only. We put it right in the middle. And, you can find us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, where we post the shorts. That's a good way for, people who are suffering a little bit of brain rot to be able to get their micro doses of our takes on Bond. And then, of course, if you've got your take that you want to say, send us an email at potatochippicturespod@gmail.com. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I think we've covered it. We'll
All right.
return with James Bond in Octopussy.
Octopussy. I don't know anything about this movie. I don't know. I only know that the word pussy around the time of the 80s started changing its meaning. I think in the 70s it still firmly meant cat. Maybe it might have meant genitalia a little bit, but by the time we're in 1983, I'm pretty sure people are starting to see pussy as a bad word. We're going to be saying it a lot in the next episode when Potato Chip Pictures and James Bond return in Octopussy. My name was B. Sammy Davis.
I'm Justin.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.